Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kieno Thomas with Kieno Training Systems. This is the planner for the VFR trip from Trenton Mercer Airport to Alletown, Pennsylvania, or Lehigh Valley International. We'll just think of this as an aircraft relocation. We're moving one airplane to another spot. Um, so, even if you are flying VFR, I recommend bringing taking a approach plate with you, instrument approach plates with you, because there's just a wealth of information that you can use on these things. Okay. First off, we're going to be departing Trenton Mercer Airport. This is the airport diagram. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, there's an assortment of frequencies. Now, this has been updated. This is the real-life thing, but on our simulator, it's 133.7, the old frequency. The tower frequency hasn't changed, 120.7, ground 121.9, and clearance delivery. If you need a clearance, you would go to ground. Okay. But basically what we have here is a layout of the airport, and where we start out is here. Now we're going to be taxiing to runway 6, so we're going to leave here. We're going to take Taxiway Hotel, make a left turn on Alpha, and take Alpha down to Juliet, and that gets us to runway 6. So this is like an awesome tool that you can use during your flight planning. You can take it with you in the aircraft. I would leave the house without it. Don't leave home without it, like your American Express card when it comes to flying. Alright, so that's Trenton Mercer Airport. For the VFR side of things, let's zoom in here. This is the New York sectional, and Trenton Mercer Airport is right here. It's Class B airspace. I'm sorry, D is in Delta airspace, as depicted by the dashed blue lines. Alright, Class Delta is active from the surface, which is about 213 feet, mean sea level, or above sea level, and up to 2,700 feet. Alright, so we could overfly this at 3,000, not talk to anybody. I wouldn't recommend it, but legally you could. And our trip is going to take us, our planned trip is going to take us to Yardley VOR. Here's the frequency. Here's the controlling flight service station. They receive on 122.1. And Alletown is up here. Alright, so let's try to get them both into view. Trenton Mercer Airport and Alletown. And we plan to land on runway 6. So that is the plan. Alletown airspace is Class Charlie or Class C airspace. Alright, these are just different parts of the pie and altitude segments. And we want to be talking to somebody. Alright. So there's a little notice. Contact Alletown approach within 20 nautical miles above 3,000 on this frequency. And 3,000 and below on this frequency. So basically, we need to talk to somebody before penetrating this airspace. Very serious, because this is a pretty heavy traffic area as opposed to, well, I'd say it's heavier than Trenton. What we're going to do is we're going to fly out to the west. Whenever we're looking at a chart, up top is north, south is the bottom, west is to the left, and east is to the right, if we have it right side up. So we're going to have to actually fly west to get, or northwest to get to Alletown, but we're going to fly out west a little bit to set up for the approach for runway 6. Okay. Now, what I do is, even if I'm doing an VFR flight, I'm always going to look at the IFR chart. Here is the IFR chart, same area. Looks a little different, and you can pause if you need to, but Trenton Mercer Airport is right there. This is your Utley VOR. Our route of flight is just going to basically be Victor 276, which is indicated by this black line, and V276 is Victor 276. All right. Hikes intersection, all right, is here. There's a minimum radio reception altitude, and this pertains to IFR flight, not VFR flight. But communication-wise, you probably get crappy altitude reception below 4,000. So, you know, like I said, I just plan accordingly. So we're going to leave Trenton Mercer Airport, direct the Utley. We're going to fly along Victor 276. And even though we're at this using this Victor 276, we're going to be using VFR cruising altitudes. All right. So if there is any IFR traffic up there, we'll be separated from them. All right. After Hikes intersection, which is depicted by this little triangle here, then we're going to start heading towards Alletown. All right. So how are we going to get into Alletown? Well, again, even though I'm using or doing a VFR chart or trip, I am going to be using all the information that is available to me. And so, again, the instrument approach plates have all the information. Alright, so basically, at this point, when we get down here to Hikes intersection, Jisto, Jisto, up here is going to be north of us. Alright, so this is the initial approach fix. And basically, I'm just going to set up the localizer frequency, and it's basically going to be an instrument approach, even though we are using visual flight rules. The cool thing about using this plate is we have a wealth of information. Again, we have the automatic terminal information service frequency that lets us know everything that's going on at the airport. We have the approach control, which we will be using the VFR approach control as per our VFR chart, since this is a VFR trip. And they're giving us above 3,000, 124.45, and coincidentally, that is the frequency here. Oh, it's one of two frequencies. 1965 is probably the below, and it is below 3,000, 119.65. So both of the approach control frequencies are there. We have the tower frequency 120.5, ground control, and clearance delivery. Basically, we'll come in on a heading of 063, and that's it. I would also have the aerodrome sketch once I got to Alletown if I was not familiar with it. Otherwise, I would request a progressive taxi. So that's pretty much the trip in a nutshell for the VFR. I'm going to do it VFR and IFR as well. So I guess I should just make this dual in nature. So again, departing Trenton Mercer Airport is depicted by this little crosshair with a circle in it. Class D airspace, altitude is 213 feet above sea level. We have lighting. The longest runway is 6,000 feet. ATIS is on 126.775. Your Lehigh VOR is here, and Victor 276 runs along here. Alright, our route of flight is going to put us above the MEA here, which is our minimum en route altitude. Alright, so that would be good to make sure we get signal coverage, we get communication or radio reception coverage, and navigation coverage. Heights intersection has a minimum reception altitude of 4,000. We'll be well above that. We'll probably be at 66,000 feet or so, so we're 2,000 feet above that. And then that will bring us into the instrument approach, which is the ILS-6 approach at Lehigh Valley International. So basically, let's see here. We're going to come into Gisto, which is going to be one of our checkpoints. There is a holding pattern there if we needed to get established. Standard pattern, the standard turns in this holding pattern. All right. Just a little information. All right. So if we're trying to get established here, our minimum altitude will be 3,000 feet. Let's see what else. Final approach course is 063 degrees, as depicted from this side view here. And let's see here, the minimums will be above. Weather will be definitely be above minimums, but we can come down to 594 feet. All right. Which will put us 200 feet above the touchdown zone elevation, and we need about a half-mile visibility. We'll satisfy all that stuff. This is a precision approach we're going to be executing, so we won't be doing a localizer. It'll be the ILS-6, not the localizer, which will be a non-precision approach. If for some reason we lost our glide slope, though, then our minimums would change. Not the visibility, but the minimum, the lowest height we would be able to come down to is 920 feet mean sea level, and that's for categories A and B, which are just speed and configuration categories. So for our simulation purposes, that's pretty much all we need. If we were to come down and not have the airport environment in sight, which this little tick mark or arrows pointing to what you should see or where you should come out and how you should see the runway and be approaching runway 6. We got down to our decision height and we didn't see anything, then we would go missed, and we would climb on the same heading, runway heading 3,000, and we would be looking for the guide in or coming on Stillwater VOR's radial 243, and Moudre intersection is 20.5 distant. That's the DME or distance from Stillwater, and we would basically do, I would do in this case, these are standard turns, I would do a parallel entry. You could do a teardrop, but I just do the parallel, just to give myself time and get myself situated. So that's basically it in a nutshell. If you feel there's something I should have covered in this briefing as per a simulation lesson, just email me and we'll talk about it and revise anything. So any comments, questions, or concerns, just contact me at kienothomas@gmail.com. This is Kieno Training Systems. Thanks for watching.